Good morning, everyone. Richard here at Kelvin Wazoo, bringing you another episode during which we will have for you Hong Kong dollars, Indian cents, English pounds, and Eskimo pence. It is another episode of Recent Finds, number 24, and we are going to be talking about some of the Nuggets comps and a garage rock record that I recently picked up. I'm enjoying my coffee in the morning. So yeah, maybe you have heard of the Nuggets comps. There's a whole series. I have no idea how many there are. I have now in my collection, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The most recent one I have, it was was originally released in 2006, but mine is a 2021 reissue, which is a compilation of a compilation. You know, it's like the first psychedelic era. I showed that in a previous video. The records that I'm showing today, I found in a little record store when I was on vacation last fall in New Mexico, and the store was in Santa Fe, and it was a pretty good score with these OG copies in really nice condition. And here is a little clip of me walking through the store. And it took me a while. They had some others there, but I thought, man, I don't want to buy all of these. But anyway, this one here, this is Nuggets Volume 3 Pop, which was released in 1984. It is on this yellow label because it actually, I believe it had two label variants, and the first ones were on this solid yellow label. Well-known pop songs on here, for example, the Lewis and Clark Expedition. You know, these are bands that fairly familiar. That's a band that begat Michael Martin Murphey of Wildfire fame. Perhaps you know that song. He was Travis Lewis in the band. Let's see, the Turtles have a song on here. There's a song, an early song, Voice and Heart, and the song is called I Wonder What She's Doing Tonight. This is from 1967, and kind of struck me as a fairly early song about a friend with benefits. The Circle, the Red Rubber Ball, which was, you know, big hit that I remember anyway, from the 60s. The Outsiders, Time Won't Let Me, you know, is probably one that you may be familiar with. An interesting one I thought was on here was by a band called October Country. Their song is called October Country. And this is from a very obscure 1968 record that would, if you were able to find that record, and you were only paying $10 or so for it, you were getting a great deal, because this is a very, very expensive record. Even the reissue for that particular release is very expensive. It was reissued in 2003. But I do have a needle drop for you from this, and it is the Boys and Heart song, I Wonder What She's Doing Tonight. Very nice pop, and I think that was probably a relatively, well-known song at the time. All right, another one that I picked up is also in the pop series. It was Volume 4. Okay, and this is also a 1984 release, so this is part 2 of the pop, the ones that were subtitled pop. So again, on the yellow Rhino label, as I said, a 1984 release. And the bands like the Merry-Go-Round are also on here again, but we also got the Royal Guardsmen, and then the Palace Guard, and then the Knickerbockers. The Merry-Go-Round do the song live, which this band was 3 16-year-olds and then one 19-year-old who was playing drums. So really young kids are in this band, and then they're scoring a hit. The Royal Guardsmen, the selection on here for that is Baby Let's Wait, which was a decent hit at the time, but the Royal Guardsmen kind of doomed themselves when they released Snoopy versus the Red Baron. That was probably a professional mistake on their part. There's Teddy and the Pandas. They have a song that's called We Can't Go On This Way. It's got kind of a creep factor going on, because there's a line there, but you're so young and we can't go on this way. Our love is the kind they don't allow. Creep factor going on here. A band called the E-Types, Put the Clock Back on the Wall, which pretty good song. A San Jose band. They were very, very popular in their region around San Jose because apparently they were able to earn $1,000 per gig. And by the way, a lot of that, all this information is on the record sleeve about the bands. The curation and the information and background that is presented on the records is really quite good. As usual with the pop music of the era, most of the bands were they were deliberately trying to sound like the Beatles, or they were trying to copy the Mersey beat sound, at the time. So you got, a band like the Knickerbockers with a song called One Track Mind, that you can hear very clear Beatles influence in their music. Then the band the Chartbusters, She's the One, was even more of a Beatles vibe in that song, totally Mersey beat. Then of course the Palace Guard, All Night Long. This was so close to being like a complete ripoff of Beatles melodies, etc. They were lucky that they didn't get sued, I really think. And they didn't get sued because they didn't make it big. If you were plagiarizing melodies in that, and you didn't go anywhere, then they weren't, no one was going to sue you. Just ask Vanilla Ice, though. You know, when you rip off somebody's tune and you make, you sell 1 million records with that, they're going to come asking for their money. So there was Lyman Sybil with the song Follow Me. Well, Lyman Sybil was Warren Zevon and Tool Livingston. Zevon, of course, became very famous for his songwriting. So this was an early hit of his. Then there's also Yellow Balloon, which is the band Yellow Balloon and the song Yellow Balloon. And that included Don Grady of My Three Sons. He played Robbie Douglas. He was the drummer. And it became a national hit. But even though it became a national hit, he couldn't be billed with the group because of his contract issues that he had with the TV series. So he often just had to stay home when they would go on tour. And then Daryl Dragon from Captain and Tennille took his place on those tours. So the needle drop I have for you is from the merry-go-round, the 3 16-year-olds and the 19-year-old drummer, and the song is Live. Okay, then I also picked up this one, the Volume 8, The Northwest. This was a 1985 release. So this, the Northwest is interesting because you really do there's a very garage sound to the music on here. And I could say, it's proto-grunge in many ways. Of course, it opens with Louie Louie by the Kingsmen, which was, recorded in a very primitive studio. And then Jack Eli, the singer, his vocals were so slurred that some wishful co-eds, as the note says, suggested that there were dirty lyrics because nobody could understand what he was singing. So they presumed they were dirty. And that just started this rumor, which of course led to widespread condemnation by clergy and other organizations for its shocking content. The big problem for another band was Paul Revere and the Raiders. All right, they came out with something at roughly the same time. And interesting, I didn't know they were from Caldwell, Idaho. So anyway, yeah, they had a song on here, Over You. There's another song by Paul Revere and the Raiders, Just Like Me. It wasn't until much later that the Raiders really did score big national hits, which they actually took. Their breakthrough was actually a song that was written and played by another group, but they took that song and turned it into their own. And then you've also got, let's see, the Wailers, You Weren't Using Your Head, the Daily Flash, Violets of Dawn. So the initial shock is going to be the needle drop that I will play for you. The song is called Mind Disaster. not quite as grungy as some of the other songs on here. They were from Missoula, Montana. And the single of that song, Mind Disaster, now will run you $75 just for that single. So that's the Nuggets Volume 8, The Northwest, as I said, from 1985. Then I also picked up Volume 9 for Acid Rock, another 1985 release, again on the yellow Rhino label. And this has got a lot of very well-known singles. I mean, there really isn't there's a couple that may be obscure to people, but these were all very well-known hits at the time. You know, you got 7 and 7 Is by Love, 8 Miles High by the Byrds, Feelings by the Grassroots, Just Dropped In to See What Condition My Condition Was In, the first edition, Magic Carpet Ride, Steppenwolf, It's Wonderful, The Young Rascals. We also got the Porpoise song by the Monkees, which was written by Carole King and Gary Goffin from the movie and the record by the Monkees, Head. Really nice tune. You got The Turtle, She's My Girl, Strawberry Alarm Clock, Incense and Peppermints, Vanilla Fudge, You Keep Me Hanging On, Iron Butterfly, and Agata Davida, the Chambers Brothers, Time Has Come Today. But then there's these other two that are a little perhaps more obscure. One being by a band called The Seeds, The Wind Blows Her Hair. And then the one that I'm going to play for you, or the Needle Drop, is from the West Coast Pop Art Experimental Band, and it's the song I Won't Hurt You.
I've lost all of my pride. I've been to paradise and out the other side, with no one to guide me, torn apart by a fiery wheel inside me. I won't hurt you, I won't hurt you, I won't hurt you, I won't hurt you. An untouched diamond that's golden and brilliant without illumination. Your mouth's a constellation, the stars are in your eyes. I'll take a spaceship and try and go and find you. I won't hurt you, I won't hurt you, I won't hurt you, I won't hurt you.
So there you have the Acid Rock Volume 8, which this one was the most expensive one of the bunch that I bought, largely because the cover it's still got some damage to it, but this was a $17 record. The others were all less than that. So, some nuggets from the past. So this next one here I purchased from a seller who largely posts his content on Instagram. And he has a YouTube channel as Permanent Records. And interestingly, he relaunched his channel because of Vinyl Tag. He participated in the Vinyl Tag. That's how I found out about him. And he is also the person who curates and releases the Brown Acid series. So this was pretty cool, and so I started following him on Instagram, because he'll post records on Instagram, and then you put in like a variant of dibs, like you put in, holy moly dibs. You know, that's how you would try to be the first person to get that record. And if you get it for whatever the price was that was posted, and then for another $6 shipping for no matter how many records you get, then, you know, you'll do that. So I bought a couple records from him, and just to kind of test and see how this whole thing works. And it, you know, it took a while through some communications, but overall the transaction was pretty good. And the grading was very accurate or even conservative. So I was very happy with what I purchased. And one of those records that I purchased is by this band, Black Lips. The record is 200 million thousand. This was released in 2009. This copy is a 2011 reissue. So Black Lips is this flower punk band. They were formed in 1999 in Dunwoody, Georgia. So stylistically, I guess you could say they're very much like early Rolling Stones, but also kind of feel like Nico era Velvet Underground and early Clash. You know, they've got all that going on. They've got a sass like the Cramps, and the singer's got a screech like Rocky Erickson, but overall they have essentially the class of the Butthole Surfers. Okay, that's what Black Lips are about. And they have several albums released. Not a whole lot of information about them. It's on this In the Red label. And yeah, not a whole lot of information about them. Listening to the songs and looking at some of the lyrics, I kind of feel like, you know, are they gay or is the singer gay? I don't know. But they're definitely very irreverent with much of their material. And the closing song is called Meltdown, and it's played to a definite rhythm of Purple Haze. But it is, you know, it is a very good song. But also, yeah, it kind of made me wonder what was going on with the singer. So he's just got that kind of Gabby Haynes kind of, or Gibby Haynes kind of irreverence about him, and with the singing. The needle drop I will play for you from this is the song Body Combat. So that's the Black Lips. And also the records here for this particular episode. I've got a lot of recent finds that I just have fallen behind on. So there'll be some more episodes coming up. Remember that you can find me on Instagram as NewsDude76. That's NEWZDUDE76. I can also be found on Facebook. I have a page there that is titled Kelvin Wazoo, so you can see not just postings about the videos that I make, but also videos, other videos of music-related content, as well as articles related to the music industry. I hope you enjoyed that. Leave a comment in the down under. Helps out. I enjoy getting them. And as always, remember to pray for the people inside your head, for they won't be there when you're dead.